going to restore the park, and what does it cost? That's what I would like to know. And secondly is walking around. My husband and I like to come downtown, walking around here. It's always a pleasure to come to town and see what's going on and get involved in something. And anyway, walking around, I saw quite a bit of trash flying around. And just recently returning from the Middle East, and Egypt in particular, and the people... It's a little loud.
Just want to be able to hear you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we were in Egypt recently, and didn't really get to interact with the protest people. We could not go downtown to Raj Square. But looking at the country around Cairo itself, it makes you sick looking at the trash that is in some of the canals that are feeding the fields there and the food. People can actually walk across the assembled trash in the canals. And so trash is something that is really very dear to my heart, and I hate to see it in a public place that is supposed to be a serene place. Again, my first question though was, what is your protest? What do you want? And where do you have a plan where to go? Right now, I don't see it.
I have a direct response. You spoke about what we're going to do to restore the park back to its original state. In the beginning of this meeting, I expressed and made an agenda item for us to I made an agenda item to restore the park in a sense that we are going to replant the grass. As far as trash goes, we've established working groups to pick up trash constantly. We are constantly cleaning. We're constantly trying to keep it as clean as possible. While there's still tips here.
I don't see the tents as trash. I mean actual trash.
Actual trash. We have established working groups. We are trying. We are not. I don't think any of us are dirty people. We don't want there to be trash. We at Occupy are against trash. We are against litter. We're against things like that. And in a direct to you seeking information of Occupy, what we're about. Info tent.
We can talk
And
about
we
that
can
later.
talk to you
Yeah.
about it.
On the agenda, so I think we can talk about the trash and stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
This is going to be UTT
Well,
on the Occupy
I heard
Charlottesville.
that we haven't seen
Pardon
city
me?
employees
This is underneath
dumping
Occupy
the
Charlottesville.
the last couple of days, pulling the trash out of the public cans as part of our responsibility towards this park. I just wanted to let you know that while we had the chance to let you know. Thank you.
In fact, the Chief Ono asked me about that yesterday, if that was being done. The city was doing
So, stack. Okay, so we're going back to the original stack.
What is the topic of the stack?
We're responding to what Mayor said.
I've already said this twice, but I'm going to say it again. We decided as a group, we consented on the fact that we were going to talk about this on Tuesday, whether or not we were going to work with the city, whether or not we wanted to move, and where it is that we're going to be moving to. I just feel like, when we make decisions as a group, we should stick to them and do them, and not, and if somebody wants to change that or has an issue with it, then we could, talk about that. But, that's what we said we were going to do. It's not fair to the people who think that's what's going to be done, and they don't get to talk about it. And, we've heard what the mayor has to say. I feel like everybody getting in stack who wanted to talk about it. We gotta stick to the process.
Bailey?
Kelly's got a direct
Kelly,
response,
direct
but we have a stack open, so...
Yeah.
No, never mind.
I think that no matter what we do, this idea that we can't inconvenience anybody is ludicrous. Because by virtue of what we're doing, we're being an inconvenience. And so I think that there are legitimate arguments as to why we should stay here, because this is the place that we consensus upon and blah 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 blah. But I also think that we chose this space somewhat hastily. I mean, we didn't know each other specific space. And I think that, like, if we as a group can look at other spaces and think, is this more convenient? Is this more visible? Does this suit our needs in a way and better, you know? And I think that, like, the only reason that I really want to move is that I feel like because we didn't have so much organization when we came into this spot, that things are somewhat out of control. And I feel like if we move to a different location, we could possibly assert control in a better way as far as, like, knowing exactly where we're going to set up food and kitchen and like where we're going to do info and who's going to be sleeping in that tent and how the neighborhoods are going to be comprised and like where the porta potties are going to go and like, you know what I mean? Like the logistics of like setting up the space. Like now we know what we're working with. We know what we're dealing with. Whereas when we chose this spot, we had no freaking idea what we were doing. We just did it. And so like, it's awesome. And maybe we can make this spot better. But if we can move somewhere else, appease the city, and keep going without having to worry about like getting kicked out every 5 minutes, we can actually do something political rather than just like constantly trying to maintain this space to make everybody happy.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to moving if there is, just so you know, if there is a suitable site. This just seems to fit a lot of our needs in a unique way with the Haven being right there and all that. However, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I have a hard time accepting that the needs of a few trump the needs of, what if we came up with a petition with 500 names of city residents that say they support us being? Does that supersede a couple dozen residents being inconvenienced with their dog walk for 6 months or so? You know we're not going to be here forever, and we're heading into winter. I'm really just feeling like the impetus of us moving is to get us out of the way. Get this off our conscience. We don't like looking at it, and it's really a moral issue. I really think that the city needs to look at, our society needs to look at this. This is a counterbalance to an extreme, radical dismantling of our democracy. We need this to be seen. And I hope.
Does anyone else have a commitment?
Wait for Pat. Oh, there you go.
The mayor got it.
So I wanted to say, someone actually asked me earlier in the week, because I've been interviewed many times, some people are kind of seeing this as an inconvenience, and my direct response was define inconvenience. Because if everyone who has some power to change the way things are, those people, if they were spending as much time as you guys are spending trying to kick us out or trying to figure out what we're doing here, we wouldn't be here. You know, if the attention was drawn to the people who you know, it's like define inconvenience, because a lot of people are inconvenienced right now in very real, very unfortunate ways. It's a reality, it's their life, and they feel helpless. And so I feel, you know, anyway, so define inconvenience. And then I also like to say, I'm not opposed to moving. I feel like my heart will be wherever you guys are with this. I think Bailey had a really good point about saying, you know, we really didn't know what we were doing, and the beauty was we learned how to do it, and you know, and that in of itself has so much value to have this experience. The other thing I'd like to say is that especially with the winter coming, you know, I think there are a lot of people here who are going to be here whether or not, like, be a part of this movement in the winter, very real sleeping over than some people might think. And I would like to see perhaps a room or some other place that we could, a building or just a room to keep like supplies and stuff, so that we're not just worried about the food getting wet and the this, that, and the other, because it would allow us to be more efficient. We could also maybe have printers there. We could ask, you know, for donations to get our zine, which has a lot of wonderful voices in it, out, so we could be more sustainable, because that's where we want to be. You know, people, when we first started, I'm sorry, keep going, just one more thing. People kept on saying, well, what do you stand for? Who are you? And it's like, listen, we just started. And I think some people have a hard time thinking because they're so short term. Where this is a long-term goal. The world is really messed up. It's going to take a lot of hard work and a just need to be more efficient in other ways so we can do those things that we want to do.
Something very short. Indians were an inconvenience to our government. And they sent them to reservations in a little corner and said, go stay over there.
Thank you.
I think everybody's making really great points, and I think, you know, we should consider all of them. But are we practicing civil disobedience or not? And I don't know about you all, but I live in this park. So I don't plan on going anywhere.
Thank you, Ashley.
One other, I forgot to acknowledge the point that Callie made, which I think is one of the valuable things that was said, which is how do you interact, how do you engage with organizations like Pacham? Many, if not most, of the people who are sleeping here because they're homeless, have successfully stayed at Pacham in the past. I know because I was running Pacham. So if there are things that that can be fixed, that you said, there might be some very simple fixes. That, I think, is a great direction. This should be about systemic change, right? And that includes how do we make it easier for people in our community to access the resources that we have.
Great. So with that,
Can I say one other thing?
okay, after I guess after you will close the stack. If
The
everyone's
mayor
okay
will
with that.
not want to hear this. But since I gather from what you're saying, this is kind of a political movement,
Absolutely.
right?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Why not right there in front of City Hall, where the big bubble is, where the concerts are?
I think in the beginning, we talked about it. In the beginning, at the Wednesday meeting at the pavilion, we went through, I want to say, 10 different places. One of them was that. One of them was Court Square. Whatever. One of them was like. So we just decided after 3 hours of talking with 100 people, we were going to be here.
Well, wouldn't that be the place to be?
That's
where
private.
this-
Right.
It's a private. See, it's a land use issue.
Okay, but this concert bubble is
Private.
Private. So yeah. So.
okay. So I
But
guess
thank you for
you're
that
out of it.
perspective. Yeah. Okay. So I think we've had a good stack, and I appreciate everyone being patient and telling everyone what they need to say. I don't think we're going to come to a consensus on anything, but this is how we do things. Please, I really would like to say that it's kind of unfortunate that it takes someone in political office to get the media to stay here and see everything that we do.
That's right.
Because we do this every day, and we are learning how to do it. And that is something that's very, very hard to do. So anyway, I just want to say that. But thank you, and does anyone want to do, I think we need a proposal. Can we just say thank you? And